Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I am happy to be with you. This is, of course, No Soundbites Allowed, and I want to talk to you about what happened yesterday. It was a great night. And you may have seen the video already. You may have seen the newspaper article, which I was one of the featured interviews about. Basically, in New York State, in particular, in the Southern Tier, we have SUNY Broome College. And they have a civic engagement department where they put forth every year an event where the community gets an opportunity to talk to the local elected officials and tell them what the public thinks are the most important issues. It's a great event. I've done this about 3 years in a row. I think they've done this. And it's important because it allows members of the Assembly, the State Senate, the members of Congress, and the legislature. It gets everybody involved, and even the mayors, and it allows the public to say and remind the elected officials, we are the power, that the public is the power of the government, and that everyone who is elected, and I don't care what party you're in, you can be a Republican, a Libertarian, a Conservative, a Progressive, a Democrat, I don't care what you are. We, the people, are who they represent. They do what we want. They don't get to make their choices independent of what the people want. And I think people like Representative Anthony Brindisi need to be reminded of things like that when they say, say the impeachment. 54% of my congressional district, the New York 22nd, did not want President Trump impeached. But Anthony Brindisi wanted to go with his party, not the people, and vote for it. And he couldn't give us a good reason why he did so. And so I think that's where we need this reminder why the civic engagement by SUNY Broome is important. It reminds them they're not there because they want it. It's because this is what we want. And they have to deal with the issues we think are important. Now, in looking at the video, looking at the article with the Press and Sun where I was featured, you heard me make my comments about what I thought was important. But there were some people who made some other comments that I want to just respond to, some of the thoughts I have about it. And I'm not personally attacking any of those individuals. We're talking about the ideas that they were expressing, and I think we need to have more of a discussion about that. Now, I found it interesting that at the Public Voice Legislative Priorities 2020, a lot of the people that were there had a large left-leaning bent. Now, that's interesting because that doesn't really represent the public as whole in this community, in the county of Broome. It's overweighting. And of course, we're on a college campus. We had several college teachers there. We had a couple of liberal organizations there, including Truth Farm. So, it really swayed where the emphasis was, because when I talk to people and they stop me on the streets because they see these videos or they've seen some of the writings I've done, they say, well, this isn't what I agree with. So I found that to be a little off-putting, and I hope next time they have an event, if you're more conservative, if you're just middle of the road, come on down and add your voice so we get more of an honest representation of the public. I also think that that lack of honest representation comes through in what we heard. And you can see this in the video where people were saying, hey, we should raise taxes, raise the people's taxes. And I have to say, that's silly. It doesn't work. It's the least effective way to do anything because government's already done that. I mean, look at California, look at New York State. New York State is $6 billion in the hole. We raise taxes every single year under Governor Cuomo. And you know what? That hasn't fixed anything. The problem is not getting better just because Governor Cuomo raises taxes every year. In fact, what that's done is we lost 1.4 million people, most of them in the middle class, that have left and took businesses with them. So when I hear someone say, well, I need to raise taxes and we'll have enough money to give things to people. We're going to give things away free. Well, now you're redistributing my money and you're asking me to pay for something that I'm already paying for, and you want me to pay more. And it doesn't work. That doesn't make sense to me. In fact, I think it's kind of hypocritical, because when I hear people say, well, we should raise taxes, the first thing I always want to ask them is, how much money did you donate to New York State or to the federal government, the IRS? What was your check amount for? Because I gave $1 to the IRS a couple years ago, and at this moment, that's still more money than Oprah has put in, more money than Bill Gates has put in. I've never seen anyone who says we should have higher taxes. And when I asked them, and how much money did you voluntarily give the government? How much did you donate since you're not paying enough in taxes? How much more did you give the government? And they always answer, oh, I didn't do that. Then why are you asking me to pay more in taxes? I mean, does that not make sense, folks? So that was in the video, and it made no sense to me. But it's a very liberal ideology, and it sounds great. Oh yeah, we'll get more money, and then we can take care of more people, which tend to be illegal aliens, which is not what my money should go to. You want to tell me that you want to take care of premature babies that are being born and they're in hospitals? I think, yeah, okay, maybe I should pay more for that. But even Representative Anthony Brindisi wouldn't even stand for that. He doesn't even want to talk about it. And in fact, Democrats are against that idea. I don't understand why. Speaking of Representative Brindisi, someone was mentioning, you know what? The government is absolutely corrupt. We had a gentleman say he's absolutely terrified. He's afraid of President Trump, which tells you where his mindset was, and that we have to change the government because of his fear. Now, the easy answer is no, the government doesn't change. You go out and vote. If you go and vote and you get more people to vote with you, and if you have enough people to vote the way you think, then we change laws, we change elected officials. That's the way the process is supposed to go. It's not, oh, we're going to change the Electoral College, we're going to change who gets to vote, how they vote. No, because that's not actually improving anything. That's actually increasing the amount of bias that's going on. That's a matter of control. You're trying to find a better way to control the outcome rather than to actually go out and convince people that your argument is better than the one that exists. But it also upset me because while they were saying, oh, I hate this government, there's too much corruption from specific people on the specific side, they also said, well, we also need to increase the amount of time that members in the House of Representatives are there. We need to give them more. So instead of having 2 years, they should be there for 4 years. Well, this doesn't make sense to me. First of all, if you're telling me that you think the government is corrupt, why would you want to give, that's the argument, why are you giving that government more time? Why are you going to extend the time that people are in office? Now, they said that this was for Representative Anthony Brindisi. Representative Anthony Brindisi deserves to have more time in office. I don't think he does. And so I don't want to give him that. Matter of fact, what I would say is if you think anyone in the government is corrupt, if you think the government is corrupt, then isn't the answer not to give them more time, but give them a term limit? That's what I want to see. I believe that you should have the House of Representatives, you get 6 years. No one gets to stay in office more than 6 years. And once that time is up, you go back to being a private citizen. In the Senate, no one gets more than 2 terms. So the maximum is 12 years. That's it. If you can't figure out the answer to the problems that you say you want to go there for in a decade, you have wasted your time and you're wasting the public's time. I'm talking like Bernie Sanders. I'm talking like Chuck Schumer. I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi. Kirsten Gillibrand, Hillary Clinton when she was in. These people have been in, many of them, for decades upon decades. Bernie's been around, what, 25 years? And have not accomplished anything. If you're not getting the job done, like Anthony Brindisi right now, if you're not getting the job done, get out. Let someone who's more effective get in. That's the way we should resolve this. Not, hey, I know, you haven't been effective. Let's give you more time. Let's let you stay there longer because that's a better answer. You know what? That was the same argument about President Obama. You know what? He just needs more time. And the economy did not get better. He did not improve things. Now things are improved, but that wasn't because of Obama. Remember, he said that the economy couldn't survive. In fact, Democrats were telling us in 2016 that the economy was going to crash. Now it's all his? No, that's trying to rewrite history. But getting back to the point, if we really think the government is corrupt, the answer isn't let's extend their time. And I know he said, well, it's because people are trying to get money for re-election. Well, the answer to that is give them 6 years. There's only a limit. They have to get things done. If they can't get it done, then that's it. They're out. And there's only so much money they can try and gather in that 6-year time to get reelected. They have to focus on being effective. Let's do that. That's my thought on it. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Maybe you think I don't have the right idea. But I was listening to people, and I was watching people. You know, there was a group, Truth Farm. It's an organization. It's a liberal, far-left organization. It's radical, in fact. They've had protests for that organization. And it's funny, because, you know, when they came out, it's one thing to hear people like myself who are just thinking about this and said, hey, this is what's been on my mind. Here are the ideas I have. And instead, we hear Truth Farm. They actually came out, and I got to watch this as the woman was speaking. I was looking at, I was sitting right behind her, and I saw she has a printed statement. She was reading verbatim the official statement from Truth Farm and putting it off as if, hey, I'm just an individual trying to tell you something. No, she wasn't. She had a printed statement. That's disingenuous. At least be honest enough to say, hey, I have a statement from my organization, a far-left radical organization, and we want to support bail reform. So we're going to use this opportunity, taking it away from other residents, other citizens who are in here, who are to talk about their personal ideas, and we're going to promote our organization's ideas, which happen to be radical and left-leaning. At least be honest when you're doing that, because it's disingenuous to read a printed statement verbatim and put it off as if it is your own thought. We'll be back soon, and I'll tell you more, folks.